Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the ALTTPR Hybrid Major Glitches Tournament. This is game one between baliame and Osse. We'll see how they get to do. Osse did place pretty well in the qualifiers. Bali just hadn't done enough to place, or not really place, but to qualify for the tournament, which really just means complete 3 races. Bali has some experience with glitch modes, has been running them for a couple of years. Osse, I know, has done some overworld glitch before. But I don't know how extensive his knowledge is of a lot of the major glitch stuff. I don't know if we'll see any sort of fake flutes or anything from him. Maybe, maybe not. As far as what is hybrid major glitches, it's sort of an in-between mode between overworld glitches and full major glitches. Overworld glitches really just requires your spin speed clips, your boot clips, and mirror clips all on the overworld. Full major glitch requires all of that, plus 1 frame clipping on the overworld, 1 frame clipping on the underworld, and fake fluting. Hybrid major glitches only requires the 1 frame clipping in the underworld. However, we have a lot of different methods nowadays to do those same clips. We actually get an immediate map check out of Bali finding a red pendant at Tower of Hera and crystals for Desert and Eastern. Both are doing a island check for the arrows. And doesn't seem like either one of them are going for it. Bali is going up to Sahasrahla, whereas Osse is going for the hobo clip. It's a nice fast way of getting to the hobo when you don't have flippers. Makes use of the very weird geometry aspects of clipping around in the overworld. From the hobo, we get a little bit of cash. Usually not the best thing you want to see. I would say that bombs are one of the more important things you want to find early on, and a lot of runners will force just getting bombs early by going for the graveyard ledge. We do find the bow in Sahasrahla's closet, which does make Eastern available, and we know it's a crystal, so we might see Bali just jump right in there and get it done. While the boss does require the fire rod in order to complete, and the big key chest does require the lamp in order to complete, we can still sequence break those dark rooms and go all the way through. Meanwhile, Osse has gone through to Sanctuary up to the Bonk Rocks. It is a location we have access to from the word go, because we do start with the boots in this mode. One of the major aspects of overworld glitches, and really all glitch modes, is that you have access to these clips all around the overworld, and the boots just make them so much faster and easier. So, Osse is continuing on through to the Lost Woods. It'll be interesting to see which way he decides to go once he's done with these 2 checks, whether he decides to go to Kakariko or up the mountain. We do see some red tree pole there for the tier 1. That's actually a very nice thing to know, that you can get money easily from that. And this looks like he's going for a lumberjack check, as well as going over to the Death Mountain, probably doing an ether or lumberjack DMA, or just checking more tree poles for money and all that nonsense. Bali finds a heart piece in the east side of Eastern. Oh, we find a pearl on lumberjack. That means that Aga is certainly in our future. While it is possible to beat these seeds without the Moon Pearl, to do so will require use of other glitches, such as various Super Bunny states or fake fluting. I don't believe our runners are going to try for that, although I'm welcome to be surprised on that. It'd be pretty great to see that. Yes, we do see the Lumber DMA out of Osse, who has onto the top of the mountain, has not rescued the old man yet, but is checking out a couple of the items up at the top before presumably rescuing him and going over to the east side and possibly Hera. However, we don't have any bombs yet, so I would also expect to see a graveyard ledge clip out of Osse just to get some of those bombs. Meanwhile, baliame is going through the dark rooms of Eastern, going for that small key over to the big key chest. Using a couple of arrows to make sure he's not getting rocked by the skeletons, while Osse is in the dark room rescuing the old man. Using the boots dust to gauge where he is within the screen. He's made it to the second screen, so he does have the old man following him right now. You can see him dashing. It's a very slow dash. Looks like Bali is opting to kill all the enemies rather than do any sort of anti-fairy skip. Finds just a green rupee there. Alright, so now we're seeing the graveyard ledge clip out of Osse. Getting those first few bombs, which are so crucial to early routing. Especially as that's his only weapon. Alright, Bali finding the Igor with an arrow by sticking him in the face before he has his eye open. And makes his way upstairs. Meanwhile, Osse is farming a few more bombs out of the Graveyard Ledge Cave. That's why it's such a good opener for a lot of people, just being able to get that many bombs that quickly. He might be thinking about going to Houlihan, but is unsure of how to get through the graveyard. Or is just heading over to Kakariko right away. Alright, so yeah, we're just heading over to Kakariko. Baliame does have to be a bit careful here. He only has 10 arrows and has to use all 10 of them here. Oh, but we do have an arrow drop from the rupee packs. That's actually pretty nice to know. And we also have a magic pack drop off of the arrow, so they just got... Or, we know some of our prize packs now, so that's pretty helpful. Knowing that we can get arrows and magic at almost any time. Meanwhile, I'll say is going through the Blind's hut, finds a bottle and a lamp. Lamp, very useful for a lot of darkroom navigation, will make certain rooms a lot easier and faster. Oh, bottle was Graveyard Ledge. My mistake. I must have missed that one when looking at other things. Either way, we do have a bottle, we do have the lamp. Having the bottle does make the trip through Kakariko a bit cleaner, as we don't leave so many items behind. We do still not have the powder, which is the last thing that you would need to finish out all of the side quests that are located in town. We do find the Cane of Samaria in the Kakariko Well. And I also didn't mention that we didn't find the bottle in Blind Set, we found the mirror instead, and bottle was on Graveyard Ledge. So now we see Bali going through to the Bonk Rocks and over to Lost Woods. We'll see if he decides to climb the mountain or to go into Kakariko. Now, interestingly for Osse is that he doesn't have any magic to use that Cane of Samaria, which is his other main weapon other than bombs. However, he's also running low on bombs, so having a consistent source of damage is very important for these early parts of the run, as there are a number of kill rooms or crystal switches that you need to hit, and if your resources are limited, it really does limit what things you can do. Bali is checking out the Lumberjack Cave, will see the Moon Pearl on the ledge and know that, oh, we gotta kill Aga this time. Does a little bit of a double take and is a little angry and shoots an arrow. But the good news is that we will, for sure, have the lamp before we need to get that Moon Pearl. We find another bottle on the library, this one pre-filled with a red potion. Could be a decent safety for later on. Might even be used for the potion camera unlock in Palace of Darkness. And here we see a fire rod by the race game. Loading up on all kinds of magic items for Osse. But just no magic to use it. Looks like he's trying to set up the cheat for the race game, faces to the side, gets the fire rod, and kicks himself out without getting stuck. Well done. So armed with that fire rod, it is technically possible to go to Landmos from here. but I don't think that's going to be the case considering how much magic it's going to take to kill Lanmos, unless we get a full magic drop from one of the Igors in the room with the chest. But Alcei doesn't know that's the prize pack currently. He finds a little bit of magic. And we find a key on the Desert Torch, so we do have that as our first item here. Meanwhile, Bali buying some bombs to blow up some walls. A little bit more magic for, I'll say, in this Igor room. He's trying to farm up as much magic as possible, I believe, so that he can go to kill Lanmos later on. He does have the mirror, which would allow for certain refills of these small magic pots everywhere, but he will have to do some of that if he wants to kill Lanmo on this trip. Could also just be looking for... Oh, never mind. We have a sword. We find a sword in Desert. So, for sure, we will see a Lanmo kill this time around. Ollie opting not to go for some of those smaller rupee pots. Wonder if Alcei is looking for more magic just to make the Lanmo fight that much easier. For every fire rod shot he can bring to the fight, that's a lot less slashes he needs to kill Lanmo. So taking a little bit of extra time to try to find some magic seems worthwhile. But he opts to not go to the back yet because he will be locked back there. He can clip behind the rocks, but can't get back out once he's done with the dungeon, so he's going to do a couple other checks, such as Agina into the Grove Ledge. Bali finds his lamp. And actually, with finding that sword in Desert, we do have access to kill Aga, but it's technically not logically required yet. We do still require either the Master Sword or the Cape to break the barrier blocking the tower. However, there does exist a clip to get into the tower without needing to destroy the barrier. Find just some rupees in the Grove Ledge. And now Alcei is making his way back to the back of Desert. We'll clip past the rocks and go to kill Landmolas. Meanwhile, where is Bali going? Oh, he didn't get the bottle off of Graveyard Ledge, so he's doubling back to turn it into the Sick Kid to clear out that check. So then he will go back down to the race game, get that fire rod. Will likely dip into Desert from there, kill Landmolas just behind Alcei. So Bali does have that eastern clear over Alcei, but Alcei does have a bit of the mountain already done in rescuing both the old man and some of the Spectacle Rock stuff. So we might have, I think, 5 Fire Rod shots for Alcei to bring into the fight with Landmolas. Oh, we're seeing a little bit of bomb strats here. That's interesting to soften up some of these Landmos a little bit. And we do kill them all with Fire Rod shots. And that is the first Crystal Dungeon finished for Alcei. We also found both of the items out of Desert. One of which was sword, the other was just some arrows off the boss. So, what is Osse's next option here. With that bow in Saha's closet, that could put off Eastern for quite a while. We might not find the other bow for a long time. Now, granted, we do have ways of getting around most other bow-locked areas. I think the only one we can't get past through allowed glitches is the Helmosaur fight. We find a second sword at the dam, as Bali picks up his first sword from Desert. Also, tried to pick up that heart, but it landed in just the wrong way to pick it up from the from the cliff. On to Mini Moldorm Cave. Inside, we find the hookshot as well as a bunch of bombs, refilling us back up to 10 on Osse's side. As Bali is going through some of the exterior desert checks before dipping into the dungeon. Meanwhile, Osse is heading over to the Ice Rod Cave. Will likely arm a water walk in order to check out the Waterfall Ferry and the Zora Ledge. Not quite enough rupees to pay King Zora himself, unless we stumble across a 300 rupee item here somewhere. Oh, opts to not go for the water walk. We're going to save and quit out. With that sword and hook shot, maybe we're making a play on Hera. We can check out most of that dungeon right now, if not all of it. And basically seeing whether or not Hera winds up being Mire-locked, which is one of the unique features of this particular mode. Okay, so instead of going to Hera, maybe we're doing a Pyramid Fairy check into Escape. That's probably what's going on. Okay, so Osse is actually making a run for the Moon Pearl at this time. He's just setting it up with the mirror by putting a portal after screen wrapping, which will put the portal inside the courtyard of the castle, and he'll be able to enter that portal to get into the Pyramid Fairy without needing the Super Bomb. And once he's done with that, he can mirror right back to the castle courtyard and go into Escape and clear that out, plus Aghanim's Tower. Now, you did see Osse take a Death Warp the mountain. That is to preserve the mirror portal. If you save and quit, your mirror portal does get lost. So just taking that into consideration while going through all these other areas. We find a third sword upgrade, one on Uncle, and we actually see a little bit of a glitchy graphic as Osse was dashing over towards the Uncle, which is pretty sweet. We find another sword upgrade. We find 2 swords at Uncle. Wow. That's pretty incredible. So there's our mirror portal placement that we placed earlier on Osse's side into the Pyramid Fairy. Opts to not check out what the potion refill is trying to exit the Pyramid Fairy to check out that Pyramid Ledge, but is having to enter and exit a couple of times in order to get everything done. Meanwhile, we get a map check. Thievestown green pendant, Swamp as blue pendant, and we don't really care about the red crystals as we just picked up the Pyramid Fairy. Swamp being a pendant is pretty nice. It does take away one of the features, another one of the features of this mode, which is the whole Mire, Hera, and Swamp loop. Meanwhile, we are getting a Hera check out of Bali here. And it looks like we did find the big key. Oh, no, we didn't. We are Mire locked. So, in order to actually reach the top of Hera and thus complete the dungeon, we actually need to come from Misery Mire to perform a inter-dungeon clip to reach the upstairs. So this is our first look at Agus Tower, as well as the east side of Lightworld Death Mountain. We find 300 rupees on the floating island. And heading on into Spiral Cave. Gold Sword making a lot of Agus Tower relatively easy for Osse here. Can just poke that Bogart instead of needing to worry about a couple of different slashes like you would in a normal run. Without glitches. Bali makes his way to Paradox Cave. There's a few more items we can possibly find here, but I'm not sure what else you would want to find that would push you closer to Aga at this point. I mean, I think Osse made the correct play in heading to Aga as soon as possible just to have that Moon Pearl. Unless Bali is trying to do this entire seed without picking it up at all, and thus saving the time of going through the dungeon. Oh, nice little stair spin speed there from Osse in the room right before the wizard cutscene here. Okay, this might be an escape play from Bali here. Or, no, it's just South Shore. So here he'll get his hook shot from Mini Moldorm Cave. As well as another sword from the dam. Alright, so there's our first lightning cycle out of Aga 1. I haven't been counting the blue balls so far, but you can kind of deduce where they are if you keep track of the lightning cycles. I wonder if Bali is attempting... Oh, he's doing a sword dupe! He's using one of his red potions to do an overworld YBA to dupe this sword. And then he'll be able to go back and forth, drain the dam again, and get another sword. So, interesting little play here. Unfortunately, it's not that great, considering where we have the other swords at Uncle. But, nice little heads-up play of being able to give yourself a bit more safety in this mode. Probably be a little disappointed in seeing a green rupee when he goes to Uncle later on. Yes, Asder. It's basically that you have the screen ID of the area to the right, and it's trying to use those save data flags, similar to like you would do in the Underworld, but it's much more limited on the Overworld in general. It is allowed in this mode because it is just an overworld YBA, much like a fake flute would be. And there aren't that many places where you can utilize it to duplicate items like that. Osse making his way through the bottom part of Escape after killing Aga. really do wonder if Bali is going to try to beat this seed without the Moon Pearl at all. Alright, so Bali did arm the water walk. We will be seeing the Zora area for the first time between these two runners, as Osse is heading towards the back. It all depends on whether or not he finds the small key here, as far as whether he'll be able to hit the 3 chests in the very rear. Doesn't find it, so those chests back there are glove-locked, which we have not seen yet this seed. Meanwhile, the Waterfall Fairy gives us a green potion. Alright. I'll say on his way over to Lumberjack to pick up that Moon Pearl. Be interesting to see which way he decides to go for the Dark World. He could just use the Aga Portal and reach various parts of it, like the... He could swim over towards the Hammer Pegs and then use the newly found fence clip with the hook shot to get over to Thieves Town. I guess he didn't realize that there are different pull locations on the overworld after you kill Aga 1. So that one that's normally by the entrance to Death Mountain does change. There are a few others that crop up, like one next to Eastern. And one down in the swamp area by the dam. Alright, so Bali doing a screen-wrapped portal placement. Going very far down. But should be fine. I'll say doing another Lumberjack DMA, heading into Hera now to check out whether or not this dungeon is Mire-locked. As well as maybe look for whatever he can find in here. Gonna be a bit disappointed, unfortunately. Gets the Harapot on the 3rd try. So now we get to see the upstairs. It is possible that we still don't find either the small key or the big key here. We do find the big key. And a bunch of money to pay Zora later on. Could be a nice play to go for once he's done with the East Death Mountain, because he hasn't done that yet. Bali heading into the Mirror Portal for the Pyramid Fairy Cave. Opts to not check what the bottle contents will be. Is pretty happy, I guess, with the red and green potions that he's got. So we do find out that there is a small key in the basement of Hera, so we don't need to go into that area at all. Alright, so there's Gold Sword for Bali. I want to see the reaction to finding a green 20 on this other chest over here. Oh, I think he realizes what just happened. Meanwhile, I'll say doing a T-Rock climb, heading over toward Hookshot Cave. Doesn't have the gloves, so we'll have to do some other clip to get into the cave itself. As well as check Super Bunny. Possibly head over to Catfish. This is actually a really good way of sequencing all of this, plus Zora, since he does have the cash for that. And he actually has an appropriate item set to do a splash deletion. And possibly check out the Waterfall Fairy, too. Okay, gonna check out the east side of Death Mountain and the light world first before doing any sort of clip to the hookshot cave. So baliame going through the bottom part of Escape. Just one more check, and then we'll be checking out the Dark Cross, realizing that the back 3 chests are glove-locked. Okay, interesting that Osse opts for the bomb jump across the pit here. I wonder if he's heading straight to Zora in the light world, or if he's going to hop down the mountain again to reach his mirror portal. Oh, I guess he didn't check out Spiral Cave or the ledge, so he's going through those first. Alrighty. That makes sense. Meanwhile, Bali going through Agus Tower. We'll be in that dungeon for a couple of minutes. We'll not be going through this seed without the Moon Pearl. I'll say being very careful about this clip to make sure that he's going through the slope at the right position so we can get to the back of Hookshot Cave. I really do like how he's sequenced this whole east side of Death Mountain through both worlds. Inside Hookshot Cave, we find a glove. Now, that does not mean that the other glove is obviously somewhere else in the world that is not glove-locked. It could actually still be in Checkerboard Cave or something like that. Osse is debating whether or not to dip into Turtle Rock now. Opts to instead go for a Skullwoods map wrap. Not what I expected. I actually expected a Catfish into Zora play here, but we're seeing a Skullwoods map wrap here. Needs to hold a direction after the jump so he hops out of the water. Gets it. Is being very careful to enter that particular entrance of Skull. If he gets nudged to the right at all, his game would hardlock, so he's taking it very cautiously, very smart. But after entering and exiting the Skullwoods area there, the underworld, his camera gets fixed, and now he's able to proceed normally. He's heading straight for Mothula, which we know is a crystal dungeon. A very clean moth fight from Osse, only getting a single spike out. I'd call that a 10 out of 10 fight. Very, very clean. Alright, Aga 1 goes down on Bali's side. So now he'll be able to go straight for that Moon Pearl. He's already cleared out Escape. So we might just see... Oh, he's going to do a West Side Breeze here, I guess. Oh, is getting mirror bonked. Oh, is opting to save and quit. Interestingly, you can actually hold the select button, and you'll bring up the select menu before you mirror bonk. So just keep that in mind whenever you're running through the seeds like this. Alright, on to the front of Skull Woods. We did find the big key in the back, and now we're going to go through a slew of small keys as we go through the rest of the dungeon here. There's our second item for Skull Woods, the first being the net off of Mothula. So Skull Woods is completely done on Osse's side. The just some rupees up on Bumper Ledge. Onward now to Thieves Town for Osse as Bali heads into the Dark World for the first time with the Moon Pearl. Might be interesting to see if we see a GT dip out of Bali here. Nope, we're just going to descend the mountain in a typical fashion, using a funny auto-walk thing. Okay, so I don't believe we saw the King's Tomb earlier. Oh, we do get mirror bonked on a bush while trying to get in there. Now, it is possible to reach the King's Tomb with a clip similar to one to get to the Graveyard Ledge that we saw earlier in this match, but we have not seen this check yet, I believe. Just some money. So clearing out some of this Dark World overworld before dipping into any of the dungeons on Bali's side as Osse continues to go through Thieves Town. Only decides to check the front four. It is a pendant dungeon, so this is a heads-up play. I know that he found at least 2 items. I missed one of them. I don't know if he found 3 or not. If he did find 3, then it's certainly extremely reasonable to leave Thieves Town for later, for when you're very desperate looking for that last item you need. So Bali deciding to go through Skull Woods, hits the big key chest first, which, incidentally, has the big key. Unfortunately, I'll say you are going to have to go around from the normal entrance into the screen. Coming from above, the dig game owner does not like that. You have to enter from the east to actually initiate the game. Inside, we find the flippers. Unfortunately, that doesn't really lock anything. We did have mirrors, so the mirror wrap to Ice Palace is available, I guess flippers does mean that entering Ice Palace is technically in logic now. Not quite able to clip out of the dig game before the timer runs out. Inside the Meyer hut, after going through the dig game, we find Bombos. I don't know if we saw the medallion. We do see it. It's Quake, which we do not have currently. So that is something to look out for, because Misery Mire is a crystal. Osse did not get mirror bonked, but doesn't want to lose his portal, so he is going to go ahead and go back to the Dark World. Because he does want to check out this checkerboard cave and keep his Dark World access. And opts to bonk over the portal to make sure he doesn't go back. We do find the silvers back here in kind of a weird palette. I don't think I've ever seen the gray bow like... Actually, no, that's his first sword. Or bow, excuse me. That's his first bow. The other bow being in the back of Saha's closet. Unfortunately, he does get mirror bonked again. But heading onward towards the rest of the Dark World. I guess he didn't feel comfortable in exiting to the east because you could wind up in the trees along the left side of the screen here if you don't exit at the right height. So he opted to go up where he's more comfortable in knowing where that is. Taking a little bit of extra time to do that. So he makes his way over to the Hype Cave. Opts to just use the gloves and rock rather than clipping through the small slope with some sort of spin speed or a hook speed clip. After Hype Cave, I'm curious if we'll see a Ice Palace dip. We are missing the hammer, so the dungeon would not be completable, but it is very possible that the hammer is within Ice Palace itself. There's our Quake in Hype Cave. So we do have that Meyer medallion. In fact, it might be worthwhile to head back over to Meyer and get that completed at this point. Meanwhile, Bali, done with Skullwoods, is heading over towards the Village of Outcasts area, clearing out some of those extraneous checks outside the dungeon. We'll see if he decides to go through the dungeon further than Osse did. Meanwhile, Osse heading into Hera. So he is fixing his camera. I'm curious which clip he's going to do. He might be heading into GT from here. Or is heading back over towards Turtle Rock. He does want to do a mirror wrap here. I think he's a little too high to do that, though. Okay, he does it from higher up, but gets the hop down. I'm used to that hop being, you hold up and hop rather than down. So it does still work. That mirror wrap is not logical access into Turtle Rock, so currently we technically would not be able to get back here, but we do have the Cane of Samaria. So we would be able to get back here regardless of where the big key is, even at the front where it's Fire Rod locked, because we have that as well. There are a good number of items in Turtle Rock, so maybe we could get lucky and find the ice rod here while clearing it back to front. Bali opted to go out of Thieves Town after checking the front 4 chests. Again, Thieves Town is a pendant, so we don't necessarily want to commit too much to the dungeon before it's necessary, especially considering we are lacking the hammer. I'll say opting to go for the big chest. Although I'm a little... I guess he's doing that more because he's not expecting to find Ice Rod here. And thus, once he does find the big key, he'll be able to open the big chest. Mirrors to the light world, forgetting that he doesn't have the hammer. So he would not be able to get the Mimic Cave chest. So interestingly, Bali did not complete Desert earlier on, so he is going to finish up that dungeon. Also, he does not have the glove from Hookshot Cave, so he will not be able to check Checkerboard and find his silvers there. In fact, at this point, I doubt he will ever get them, unless he is really strapped for checks later on for a possible Ice Rod. So that could be an advantage for Osse down the line. Because I doubt Osse would skip the Saha's closet if he's still looking for things. Although, maybe we find everything before then on his side, so he wouldn't get silvers out of the back of Saha's closet. Who knows? At this point, I do believe that as far as Go Mode is concerned, all we really need is the Ice Rod and the Hammer. We already have our Meyer Medallion. We didn't need the Flippers, although we do have them. We don't need the Mitts. And we don't need the Flute either. So we do have everything we need in order to finish off the seed. Only lacking that Hammer and Ice Rod. Well, getting a little bit mirror bonked after Desert there. Meanwhile, I'll say done with Turtle Rock for now. We'll come back later once we've got that Ice Rod. Does need to mirror to the Light World, otherwise the save and quit would put him to the Pyramid, considering that Aga 1 is killed. So maybe now we're seeing our first GT dip at 47 minutes. Either that, or Osse is maybe doing a super drop to get to Meyer. That's also a possibility. All depends which way he goes once he's at this bottom. He is going into Ganon's Tower. So Ganon's Tower has technically been open to us ever since we got the Moon Pearl. We do not need 7 crystals to enter the tower. In fact, items that we do need to complete those crystal dungeons can be in here. Bali over in Hype Cave will be picking up that Quake Medallion. We'll see if he decides to go into Misery Mire or up to Ganon's Tower, or even do a similar T-Rock dip that Osse had just finished. Looks like we are getting a Mire Dip out of Bali. There are only 2 items that we can find there, but we could carry those down into Swamp Palace, which actually could hold either the hammer or the ice rod if we are unlucky. We do know that there is nothing that we need in Hera. We've found both items in there from Osse's side earlier on. All right, nearly done with the right side of GT on Osse's side. Has to make his way around to go over to the Ice Armos. I'll say going around on the invisible path. Nice little bit of knowledge to know for when you're coming through the right side like this. We do find a big key very early on in Mire. It's what we like to call a God Mire. So Bali could have taken that and gone straight back to Vitreous, but is opting to clear out more chests before committing to the boss. Behind Ice Armos, we do find the Ice Rod itself. We did not find the big key, though. So there is no hammer that we can find in Ganon's Tower. Which actually is a bit of a concern. Well, it's not a huge concern for Bali, should hammer crop up before he dips Ganon's Tower, because likely you'll be clearing all the way to Ice Armos from the left side as you're getting the big key anyway. So that's actually a fortunate placement for it. Even though Osse's already found it, it is fortunate for Bali that it's there. Okay, Osse deciding to go into Palace of Darkness. This is the first time we will see that dungeon. Is going the NMG way by dashing around on the overworld for the Hedge Mace, but opts to mirror over to Saha's hut first. Will find his silvers here. And we do know that the other bow is in Checkerboard Cave, which does require some gloves that we found in Hookshot Cave on Osse's side. We do not have a glove yet for baliame. Ollie opting to use your red potion before dipping down into the basement. Also doesn't seem to set up the spooky action glitch. Also deciding to go through Eastern Palace first, as this is a fully clearable dungeon, before committing to Palace of Darkness, while he still lacks the hammer. For all he knows, it could be in here, but as we know from Bali's side, it is not. Bali entering the Vitreous fight. I don't know why he's got Cane of Samaria equipped. Alright, he has swapped over to bow for the phase 2. Alright, so that's Misery Mire done for Bali. I doubt that he will go back in to unlock Swamp Palace. So from here, we'll see if he decides to go for Ganon's Tower, a similar pod dungeon dip, or to Turtle Rock. He is opting to mirror outside of the range of the pedestal area of desert. There is something I guess he wants to do over in this area. Or just wants to make sure he doesn't get mirror bonked. Bali did not complete Hera earlier on, but does decide to correct his camera anyway. This could be a dip over to Hookshot Cave. He did complete the east side of Lightworld Death Mountain, but has not been to the Dark World side, so he will potentially pick up his glove while over here, as Osse is nearly done with Eastern Palace. A little bit of trouble aiming the silver arrows against the regular Armos, but gets it done. That's another crystal for Osse. That is crystal number 3. We are... I guess Osse is a couple of... Or no, is only one crystal dungeon behind. Bali has completed Misery Mire, but Osse has done Ganon's Tower, and has cleared out a significant amount of Turtle Rock. So Osse has decided to enter Palace of Darkness, entered it normally, so in this mode we are actually allowed to clip to Palace of Darkness from Spectacle Rock Cave, which does give us a cave state, which would allow us to unlock this one key door that he's just about to walk by. But not having that means that Osse does need to go to the Bowlock side first to find any small keys. Getting a little bit hecked by that jellyfish in Hookshot Cave on baliame's side. But there's that glove. And it looks like Baliame is going to head into Turtle Rock here. He's going to set up a mirror wrap. Oh, it's doing the old style. Man, I haven't seen that kind of a mirror wrap positioning in forever. So we do see the rear of Turtle Rock on Baliame's side. We won't find the hammer that we're looking for, but we will find the necessary big key that we will need for Trinax later. So, if the hammer is not here in Palace of Darkness, I do wonder where it could be. There aren't too many other places we can go. We can go to Ice Palace. I bet we will see a Mire dip out of Osse, even though we know that it's not there thanks to Bali. Likewise, I bet we will see a Ganon's Tower dip from Bali, even though we know it's not there. We'll find the Ice Rod, I'm sure. But I do wonder if we are perhaps looking at a hammer that is within either Ice Palace or Swamp Palace. Both of which would be rather annoying to deal with, as they are, for most intents and purposes, hammerlock dungeons. Ice Palace being more so. So there is no hammer in Palace of Darkness. We have not seen catfish from either runner yet. I actually don't know if there is an item on Trinix. I haven't been keeping close tally of all the items found in Turtle Rock. But maybe we're seeing a completion of that dungeon from Osse here. We'll just get that dungeon done. Yeah, that it. SDMX is correct. We have not seen Zora yet. We do have the money for it, for sure. But neither runner has gone for a King Zora play. I actually do love how both of our runners have very different ways of doing the Turtle Rock mirror wrap. And both of those ways are different from the ways that I do it. It's all the same glitch, but it's just slightly different variations depending on what you're comfortable with. It's always amusing to see. Now, unfortunately for Osse, he will not be able to check catfish on this trip through Turtle Rock, because this boss kill will put him at the entrance of Turtle Rock, but it is not open, and he doesn't have the hammer, nor does he have the mitt, so he won't be able to go to the Dark World so easily, but we could still see him go for Zora. Finding a cape on Trinix, so there was an item there, but it is not the one we need. So Bali is probably going into Ganon's Tower from here. I could definitely see also going down to Zora to pay off King Zora. He did not check the waterfall chests earlier, so having the flippers now makes this much easier. Alright, so Bali did go into Ganon's Tower. We'll find the Ice Rod behind Ice Armos, but no big key, as we know that is hammer-locked. No such luck paying the big fish. So, where do we go now? Probably Misery Mire on Osse's side. Otherwise, since we know Hammer isn't there, maybe we'll see a dip down to Swamp Palace. Huh. Oh, okay, I see what Osse is doing. Instead of doing the Death Mountain Super Drop, he's going to be clipping towards the portal that's locked by the hammer and glove. We'll get past the hammer pegs on this side, but in order to do so on the Dark World side, we'll need to perform an overworld bomb clip. Gets it just fine, and we are out of that hammer-locked area. Ooh, Bali takes a fall on the right side of GT. Has to be very careful. Oh, doesn't quite beat the falling bridge and falls down. All right, Misery Mire play from Osse. I am interested to see if he will decide to go all the way down to Swamp and possibly look for Hammer there, or if he will bail once he is done with this dungeon and check some other place. I'm also curious as to what Bali will do. Probably go back to Turtle Rock to finish off Trinex there. And I am guessing we'll go into Palace of Darkness afterward, as that is an item-dense location that could house the hammer, but unfortunately we know that it's not there. I'll say opting to go straight for Vidi after finding the big key in the spike chest of Mire. Bali realizing that he doesn't have the Ganon's Tower big key, saves and quit out of that dungeon. Alright, no spooky action out of Osse there. Didn't throw the Samaria block into the void, so the altitude is still 0. Alright, here's that play for Trinex that Bali is about to do after finding Ice Rod behind Ice Armos in Ganon's Tower. Will be rewarded with a magic cape. Not the hammer we're looking for, though. Alright, so Vidi is down on Osse's side. I don't believe has found any items in Misery Mire yet, so he will need to go back into the dungeon to scour it, looking for those two. No one has done the back of Escape yet. We did find the gloves in Hookshot Cave earlier on, but no one has gone back to finish out those 3 chests. That is a potential location of the hammer. I don't think Osse has done the King's Tomb either. We did see it out of Bali with a mirror from the Dark World. But there is certainly a way to do that from the Light World with a similar clip that we did to get to Graveyard Ledge. All right, so we're back to being tied on crystals. I'll say still clearing out Misery Mire, looking for that second item. And I am still wondering if we will find him dipping into Swamp Palace to look for the hammer. This could be a back of escape play from Bali. Yep, we're dashing right over to the graveyard. Unfortunately, we just find a bunch of rupees in the back of escape here. Did he not do Dark Cross earlier on? Maybe he didn't feel comfortable with it lacking the lamp, because I don't think he... No, he has to have had the lamp. He just didn't do it earlier. Okay. So I'm curious. I guess also decided to not go for the cutscene chest is kind of fumbling around a little bit in Mire, unsure of what to do next. Maybe this will be going up to the other torch room with the moving wall and clipping down to Hera. He does have only that single small key. It is all he needs to go into Swamp. He very well could be thinking of going Mire to Hera, then Hera to Swamp. This is certainly interesting. So not finding the hammer in the back of Escape, Bali does decide to go back up the mountain. He hasn't been up Hera yet. At least I don't think. He certainly hasn't been to the top to kill Moldorm. We do see the Mire to Hera bomb clip there, out of Osse. And this is a Palace of Darkness play from baliame. Unfortunately, with picking up that pot, I'm guessing that it's screwing up with his bomb clip setup that he wanted to do. He is going for an old school sword buffered clip, is doing it fairly well, just needs to get the... Oh, not quite there. And he's getting shot at by the Dodongo up there. He killed the other one, but he killed the first one, but the second one decided to just walk all the way around and come and shoot fireballs at him. Very rude. Gets the clip, and now we're in Swamp Palace. Is opting whether or not he wants to flood here. If anything, open the key door, and then you can come back in from Hera State. But instead, I guess we're going to go through the front of the dungeon. We've got the mirror, and we have the flippers to load the dungeon normally. We have to be careful about opening any chests here, because if we do find the big key or the small key, it could lock us out of other item checks in this area. So we actually are very well hoping that this is not a big key here. It's a bottle. We find a mushroom in the front of the of Swamp Dungeon. I'm wondering if Osse will turn that in before going into Swamp proper. I think so. He is got that. He does have that mirror equipped. Actually, if he really wanted to, he could probably take that powder, go all the way to Kakariko, and use fake powder at the bat to check that. That might be something I would consider. just so that if it does happen to be there, you're not also trying to find powder. But we are going to go ahead and turn that in, get this out of the way. Might even see some potion buying for possible fake flutes, although I don't think there are any that would substantially help our runners at this stage of the run. Okay, this looks like Osse is going to the back of Escape now, remembering that he does have that glove from way earlier in the run, and that he has not done these 3 chests back here. This is quite the hammer hunts that the Seed has put us into. Okay, Osse does decide to go for the safe and quit. That does kill the mirror portal that he had outside of Swamp, but he could go to Tower of Hera. He has already unlocked the front of the dungeon, and since he has the Hera big key, he could use that to go through Swamp Palace, although that would require a couple of extra clips through the dungeon. No, he is going into Hera. I thought he might have been going for a super drop right then, but I guess not. So this is some very interesting inter-dungeon play in trying to figure out where that hammer is. Alright, so this time... okay, so Osse is going for the manual clip again, is opting to not bomb clip this at all. Misses the first time. Does go for the bomb clip second time around. And unfortunately misses the bomb, so he is going to go for another manual clip. Bali, I think, is nearly done with Palace of Darkness. And once he's done with that, it's going to be interesting to see which way he decides to go for... checking the next dungeon. He's already completed Eastern. He has done as much of so many dungeons as he can. Unfortunately, that mirror puts him into the Dark World, so he's back on the pyramid. I don't think that's where he wanted to be. Maybe it is because we have not seen Catfish. This could be a play to there. So maybe that mirror was not a mistake coming out of Palace of Darkness. I actually don't think that Osse would want to do the normal entry to Swamp Palace. Mostly because he doesn't have the Swamp Big Key, and using Hera's Big Key is a bit better here. Plus, he doesn't have the... in order to get down there, he would either have to do a super drop or a bomb clip out of the portal area. I think doing this from Hera makes sense. He doesn't need the prize out of Swamp Palace here. At least as far as we know. It is possible that Hammer is on pedestal, which would be really damaging for Osse. But that is about the worst case scenario for either runner. Catfish, unfortunately, only has bombs. But up next, Bali is going to check out King's Roar. We have not seen that on his side yet. So remember that the game currently thinks that Osse is in Tower of Hera. So if he does decide to go kill Argus, nothing will drop from the ceiling because he already has that green pendant from earlier on in the run. Oh yeah, I guess Tower of Hera was not a green pendant. I must be confusing some other run at the time. It is not green, it is one of the blue or red ones. I forget which one. My mistake, I'm sorry. Either way, we will not be getting the Swamp Pendant here. We will just be getting nothing out of the ceiling. That's the important part of what I was trying to say. All right, so Bali is heading over to Checkerboard Cave. We'll be getting the silver arrows out of here. We still have no sign of the mitts, so it's very unlikely for our runners to go for the smith chain, as that is a logical requirement. And the smith chain is a very long sequence that we can speed up. Well, we can't exactly speed it up, but we can sequence break it. But I don't feel like it's worthwhile to do the smith chain until you have the logical access for it. All right, seeing some select buffered Harapot from Bali here. Wasn't quite happy with that position, I guess. There's our hammer in the back of Swamp, in the waterfall chest. So I'll say it's finally hit go mode at an hour and 20, almost 21 minutes into the seed. Of course, now you have to wonder, where do I go? I guess Palace of Darkness is the closest, due to the Kiki skip clip we can do here. The Bali killing off Moldorm here. Will not have a small key for going to Swamp, and he's already unlocked all of the sewers, so the only way he has of getting into Swamp currently is by going from Mire into Hera, and then from Hera into Swamp. So luckily for Osse, the rest of these dungeons should be fairly straightforward. Does still need to find the big key in Ganon's tower, as that is hammer locked. Oh, I guess Bali was not able to check the Turtle Rock big chest earlier, since he had gone straight from the laser bridge all the way back to front. Something that I'll say specifically routed in to avoid. So what is next on Bali's mind to look for this hammer? We're seeing another dip into Ganon's tower by Bali. I'm fairly certain that he did clear out all of the chest checks here. Or did he skip Tile Room when he first came through? Oh, he did skip Tile Room, so... Oh, this is a really unfortunate play for Bali. Since he didn't do this earlier, he's having to take the time to go into Ganon's tower to try to find it, and he's not going to see it here. Meanwhile, I'll say done with Palace of Darkness. We'll likely be heading down to Ice Palace. Very likely, in fact. And just needs to go through the dungeon with relative ease. He doesn't have the mitts, so he does need to go through the dark world here. And he is going to go for the mirror wrap. Now, even though he doesn't have the mitts, we do have logical access into Ice Palace because we have the flippers. There is an in-logic clip to reach the Ice Palace that requires only the flippers and not the mitts. Not that it matters, because we have, of course, other ways of getting in, such as the mirror wrap. This is our first dip into Ice Palace, but I don't think we'll be seeing any chests open. We already have the golden sword. We already have the silver arrows. We already have a ton of hearts and other safeties and half magic and all that jazz. The only thing we're really looking for is a small key from Ice Palace, as we are going through the icebreaker side here. But luckily there's one underneath this big gray block. We did see a Death Mountain super drop out of baliame. He will get the mushroom out of the front here. But unfortunately that mushroom doesn't lead to anything, and does not let Swamp be unlocked. The only way that Bali has of getting to that hammer is by doing a Mire to Hera clip and then a Hera to Swamp clip, and taking that all the way to the waterfall chest, which does actually require 2 full dips into Swamp Palace. Although on Bali's case it's going to be 3. Cold Sword makes Cold Stare a joke. So Osse is done with that dungeon. Now still needs to do the left side of Ganon's tower, as well as defeat Ganon. Well, the left side of Ganon's tower and the upstairs. We do still have Agatu alive. And he does need to be killed in order for Ganon to be vulnerable. Alright, so is Bali going to go back into his portal here? I think so, although I don't know what that's going to entail. He does need to get to Misery Mire. Although I guess there is a series of clips to get into the Mire area from here. Oh, but we are getting an Ice Palace dip out of baliame. This is unfortunately not the correct play for him. We are not going to find a hammer inside Ice Palace, so he's going to get through a significant amount of the dungeon, but be unable to finish due to lacking the hammer. So armed with the big key, Osse is making his way upstairs. using the silver arrows to great effect against the mimics. Up to the gauntlet, making short work of all the enemies found inside. Meanwhile, Bali opting to not go for the icebreaker as he would be locked back there, lacking the small key. So he is instead going to do the Ice Palace bomb jump. I'll say done with the gauntlet, done past Landmos 2, is up to the torches up the top of the tower. Has plenty of small keys, so I don't think he's even going to open up any chests up here. We'll just be heading straight for Moldorm and on to Aga 2. As Bali is still clearing out bits of Ice Palace. Trying to find that hammer that is, unfortunately, in the back of Swamp Palace. And of course, the way that Bali has to get there is by first going into Mire, clipping into Hera, then clipping into Swamp. And actually needing to do that a couple of times. Or at least doing the Hera Swamp clip a couple of times. We do see Osse open up the chest past Moldorm 2. Perhaps that is a hedge against possibly screwing up Aga 2 enough that he dies or something like that. Or just out of habit. Getting a double on the first cycle of Aga 2. Still need a few more hits here. Oh, just barely misses the triple on the second cycle. Needs one more hit to finish off the boss here. Now, Osse could opt to clip out the right side of the arena and possibly scroll the battle screen, saving a few seconds on the cutscene, but with Aga being on the right side of the arena, that's not a great idea. Especially for such a small time save. But now Ganon's tower is done, the pyramid is open, Ganon is vulnerable. As Bali figures out that the hammer is indeed not in Ice Palace. Alright, so how does Bali intend on getting to Misery Mire? Unless there's something else he wants to check over here. Oh, I think I know what Bali's doing. He's going to do an overworld YBA over on this side of the screen, which does some very funky things. Or did he find a book? He did find a book. Okay. So, this is the first of the tablets that you can check. We did find the book, I guess, in Ice Palace. So, unfortunately, no weird YBA stuff for getting to Meyer. One more silver arrow for Osse to kill Ganon. There he goes. Get your GGs in chat. As Osse finishes with an official time of 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 59 seconds. Congratulations, Osse. So, after checking the ether tablet, we still don't have that hammer. Need to figure out some way of getting to the back of Swamp. And we're joined by Osse. Congratulations. So, that hammer was kind of a pain, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it's in the dungeon where not having hammer is incredibly awkward.
Yeah. Bali is actually still on the lookout for it. Has just gone into Thieves for the second time. Unfortunately, will not find it here nor on Green Pendant. Overall, I liked a lot of the sequencing you did, especially when you had the mirror on East Death Mountain.
I really liked how the routing worked out. It felt really efficient. Got a lot of mirror. It just felt like I could keep grouping things together.
Yeah, the lack of hammer was only an issue as far as completing really just Ice Palace and Palace of Darkness. Just a couple of things there is all that stood between you and victory.
It came up a couple of times that I couldn't use the Turtle Rock portal to get down to Catfish.
Right. That was a little unfortunate. Catfish did wind up being rather awkward for both of you guys to get to. Just because Turtle Rock was so tempting at that time.
Early on, it was Kane and Fire Rod, and that's half a GT and all of Turtle Rock.
Let's see, what other interesting things did we see in this one? Oh, those sword locations. The first couple were pretty nice to find, and then just 2 more on Uncle. Now, unfortunately for baliame, he had one of the red potions earlier on and saw the one sword outside the camp and decided to dupe it. So he technically has found 5 sword upgrades this seed.
Which one do you do?
The one outside the dam.
Yeah, right. It's cool to see. Early swords make for a fast seed in their own way.
Yeah, it makes a lot of the combat much easier to get through. And also a sword hunt at the tail end is one of those more annoying things because there are so many in there. And the fact that you don't find... that you possibly don't find them makes it really annoying and has cropped up in a few of the races so far.
Yep, it's definitely annoying.
I was
appreciation for swords.
Yeah, I was a fan of seeing you go for the old school style of clip for going hair to swamp. I wasn't sure if anyone else was actually going to be doing that style. Most people have moved over to the so-called dash citrus.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with dash citrus. How recent is that? I guess that's my question.
It's not that old. It's certainly less than a year old.
Okay, and that's why I haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
So I just found out about that with this tournament, I guess. Gave it a try. I don't really like it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm just going to stick to what I know, which is really consistent for a lot of ways of doing glitches in this game. You find one way of doing it and you just stick with it.
Yeah, it's really important to be able to do it at all before anything else. So
Right.
whatever you remember or like.
Yeah, one of the paramounts of running this game is consistency is king. If you can be consistent at something, then it's probably the thing you should be doing. Rather than going for the fastest strats and screwing them up.
Yeah, like back when I was running all dungeons, I spent some time doing like pixel precise alignments for things, but now I don't remember any of that at all. So it seems like a waste of time to even try to relearn those.
Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, we did just get a forfeit out of Bali. The hammer in Swamp Palace is, or especially where it was in Swamp Palace, is just one of those extremely awkward locations that you just have no good way of routing in. Mostly because I think you definitely have to clip Harada Swamp 2 times in order to get back there with everything flooded. And the Hera small key was of no help, and neither was the Sewers small key, so there really was no way of you speeding it up except for going at the very least Mire to Harada Swamp, and then probably Harada Swamp afterward, just to get everything flooded and opened properly.
Yep, it was a mess.
Well, this wraps up game 1 for the two of you guys, and you guys have another one immediately after this. Well, after a 15-minute break or so, right?
Yeah, like I requested a little break here because like the items can get confusing, remembering what you've done and what you haven't.
Yeah, I think people like to call that seed bleeding.
Yeah.
So we actually have other races happening on right now at the same time. There is currently a race in progress between Professor Renderer and Krellbell. Actually, around the same time that you two will be starting your second game, there's another game between Chexhuman and Muffins going on SpeedGaming 5. Renderer versus Krellbell is on SpeedGaming 4. You can stay tuned here for the rematch between these two. And there's still another 2 matches later tonight. So there's a lot of Hybrid Major glitches going on today. And possibly some more tomorrow, depending on how all these matches wind up, whether or not they need a Game 3 or not. Do you have any other thoughts you want to share about the seed here?
It was a really interesting seed. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, thanks for doing comms.
Yeah. And you played it well. Thank you to Michael K for tracking. And of course, thank you to SpeedGaming for hosting these restreams. We will see you all very soon.